What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to use a timer app correctly and how long it should be set for to keep your creative powers at peak force? Well, I have good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you how to do this. Normally it's $45, but since you're a loyal listener of the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time.
You're listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you want to step into your greatness, you've come to the right place. Here is your host, the human strength expert, Kyle Newell.
It's Kyle from Unlocking Your Inner Strength and Newell Strength. Once again, we're episode number 80 of the Unlocking Your Inner Strength podcast. Hard to believe it's been 80 episodes. So I guess that means this spring we'll be going up on 2 years, which is pretty cool. Today, what we're going to be talking about, of course, is mindset to start out, and then metabolism, how to look at your metabolism, how to understand metabolism a little bit better. So if you have any questions while this is going on the live feed, just drop them in. I'll answer them. First thing about your mindset. It's very important when you start out the week that you know what your process is going to be for the week. How are you going to put one foot in front of the other? Too many people don't have the process in place, and too many people fear failure. Too many people have this perfectionist mindset, and they're trying to avoid failure, where winners realize that they need to fail in order to succeed. That's the only way you can truly grow and course correct. I've talked about this before, but when a plane is flying to a destination, it's off track 95% of the time. It keeps course correcting until it gets to where it wants to go. So failing fast. Now, most people don't value their time as much as they should. Most people value money more than time. So when that comes to failing fast, you have to realize that the faster you can fail, the better, because time is your most valuable thing. It's the one thing we're not getting more of. Once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, money, if you lose it, you can make more. You cannot make more time. And you have to be mindful of how you talk about your time. Too many people say wasting time, let's kill some time, just things where they don't really value their time, but yet they would do anything to get an extra $100 or $1,000 or $10,000. Down in the shed, I have the marbles, which I showed you a few episodes ago, where I calculated how many I would need to live to 85 years old. I did this, let's say 8 years ago, and I had one marble per week. Each week I'd take a marble out, put it into the red bucket, I transfer it from the red bucket to the blue bucket. And that's just the kind of a ticker on my life. I visually get to see how much life I have left. This might be morbid, but I really always want to be reminded of how valuable time is and realize that your time, you got to focus in the moment. To the brain, time is nothing, meaning you can go to a memory instantly. Now, if you think too far out into the future, though, you're going to get anxious. There's less prediction and response the further out we think into the future. The brain doesn't like that. The brain likes patterns. It likes to know what's coming. So plan for failure. Plan for chaos. Chaos is going to happen. Your plans are not going to go as planned. Expect it. If you expect it, you lower the level of threat when it actually happens. If you think you have 5 days in a week, you got 4. Think you have 8 hours to work, you got 4. So you cut it in half. Cut a week off each day. If you think you have 4 weeks in a month, cut a week off. You have 3 weeks really to get done what you have to get done. And if you plan that into your schedule, you're going to be well ahead of the game. With that said, let's get into metabolism and body types. So there's different types of body types. Metabolism to me is one of the most misunderstood things in fitness. I'll tell you a quick story from 2007. I was competing still, bodybuilding, pretty frequently at the time. And at one of my shows, they brought in, they used to bring in all the guest posers, right? So there's this guy, Michael Lockett, who's a year or two younger than me. I knew who he was, and when I saw him in person, it was jaw-dropping. The guy had muscle like I'd never seen before, almost like a Belgian blue cattle if you Google that or look it up, sort of like a myostatin deficiency. And I had written about him a long time ago, but the muscle had a very, very strange look, almost like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle from the movie. The guy was blessed. He could eat pretty much whatever he wanted. He did not have to eat that much to put on that much muscle. He was just ripped all the time. Very unusual person. And he kind of fell off from bodybuilding because it wasn't really a challenge for him. But the point is that genetics are going to play a large part in your body type. So with the 3 different types of body types, very few people besides this guy, Michael Lockett, I'm talking about, he's clearly cut a mesomorph. A mesomorph is somebody that is muscular naturally and they put on muscle easily and keep very lean easily. Usually it's a combination of those. We have mesomorph, you have ectomorphs. Those are the people that are very skinny that have trouble putting on weight. Then you have endomorphs, so the ones that are naturally kind of soft or pudgier, and they have trouble keeping fat off. They might be able to put on muscle a little easier. Now, usually you're a blend between endomorph and mesomorph, or ectomorph and mesomorph. I personally, with my genetics, I fall between endomorph and mesomorph. I can put on muscle pretty easily. Never going to be super shredded naturally. So that's just the way it goes. So understand that with your body, first of all, you can't turn a pit bull into a chihuahua or a chihuahua into a pit bull. You got to maximize what you have. Now, if we're talking about building muscle as well, take some time to build muscle. Too many young people out there want to tone and get ripped, and you can't sculpt a pebble. That's not to be mean, but you cannot sculpt a pebble. You got to be a boulder to be sculpted. We have, between the genders, different fat patterns. So for men, we both have stubborn fat, men and women. For men, 99% of the time, our stubborn fat is going to be in the lower abdomen and love handle area, lower back, and then the glutes. Now, if you touch that, like I'll touch my side right now, it's colder than my other skin. I'm going to come back to that in a second. For females, your stubborn fat 99% of the time are your thighs and your glutes. Now, stubborn fat is an alpha receptor. It's a different type of fat cell receptor. It has a very poor blood supply. If you can't get blood flow into fat, you can't get that fat out. So that's why it's important about the note that I said about it being colder. Poor blood supply. Stubborn fat is very difficult to lose. It is more difficult in females to tap into. The reason I started with the intermittent fasting approach 2014 was because I was doing research, getting ready for the last contest I did of how to lose this stubborn fat, really get as shredded as I could for the show. And fasting is one way to increase blood flow to those stubborn areas. And then I started learning about all the health benefits and whatnot of fasting and intermittent fasting, which I'm actually writing a cool paper on right now. But nonetheless, stubborn body fat. Now, you do see flipped patterns where men have female fat patterns. I have men that have pretty much breasts, okay, and that's a hormonal thing, or very big lower halves. And I have females that bellies like men would have that I've worked with. So it just really depends. But you're not going to see one body type all the time for male and female, but in general, that's what you're going to see. And then we have the metabolism, which is very misunderstood. Here's some myths, okay? Even between a fast and a slow metabolism, if we look at humans that are the same weight, you're looking at a difference between like 200 and 300 calories. You're not talking about that much of a difference. To say, oh, I have a slow metabolism or a fast metabolism, throw that out the window. That's kind of what people do when they don't really know what's going on and how to fix it with their body. What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to use a timer app correctly and how long it should be set for to keep your creative powers at peak force? Well, I have good news for you. I put together a special report showing you how to do this. Normally it's $45, but since you're a loyal listener of the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time. So with metabolisms with females, and I learned this from Coach Scott Abel, who was the first guy that coached me starting 10 years ago. If anybody could have a PhD in physique enhancement, it would be this guy. He was brilliant. But for females, typically you have downturns in your metabolism in your late 20s, mid-30s, and early 40s, the big shifts. And those are hormonal things. For guys, you could put it off another couple years, so mid to late 30s, and mid-40s. Your body's going to change. So that's important to note. It's going to change no matter what we do. So fast versus slow metabolism. So that's more of a myth. Now, let's also look at speeding up your metabolism. You don't really speed it up. You make it more efficient or less efficient. By eating small, frequent meals, you do not speed up your metabolism. You're giving your gut less of a break, which is going to mess up your body composition in the long run. And that all ties into, how your nervous system is functioning and whatnot. What's really happening is you have insulin sensitivity, meaning how sensitive are you to insulin? You want to be more insulin sensitive. You do this by working out, you do this by fasting, and this will also affect calorie partitioning. Where are those calories going that you're eating? The people that are genetically blessed, what they eat predominantly goes to muscle building. The people that are less genetically blessed, what they eat, they're calories are pretty much going to go more towards fat storage. And the average person, let's say it's 50-50. Now, you can alter that through fasting and how you eat, and how you sleep is a big thing, and your training. So we're looking at where the calories go and that we're eating. Well, metabolism, you have it broken up into 4 parts. Now, this is the part I really want you to understand, and then we'll wrap it up. You have basal metabolic rate accounts for the biggest chunk of your metabolism. Okay, between 55 and 65% of your metabolism. And that's basically the calories you need just to sustain yourself if you laid in a hospital bed all day, no activity. A very simple way to figure it out, you can do some very fancy equations, but a simple way, take your body weight times 10, that's going to put you right in the ballpark. So for me, that'd be about 2,400 calories a day. Then you have the next biggest chunk is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. What this means is the energy you're going to expend doing indirect exercise. I mean, walking around doing stuff if you have a blue-collar physical job, things of that nature. Most people do not simply move enough. So getting out for a daily walk on top of your exercise or the days you don't exercise is huge. That accounts for about 20% of your metabolism. Then you have exercise thermogenesis, which will account for about 10% of your metabolism. Okay, so not as much as people think. Exercise does not affect your body as much as you think. In fact, I've always said it affects your brain more. That's a more important benefit of exercise. And then you have the thermic effect of food, which is how much the food you eat will kind of ramp up or rev up or feed the fuel for your metabolism, which accounts for 5 to 10% of your metabolism. Protein has a higher thermic effect, obviously, than carbohydrates. More of it's burned off in the digestion process. With that said, though, I keep saying that because they were talking about it in Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, and it just stuck in my brain. Kind of figure out where your basal metabolic rate is. Take your body weight times 10, and that's how you can set your calories if you're going to count calories initially, and adjust up or down from there. Make sure you're getting a daily walk in. Make sure you realize that your rest and your stress are greatly going to impact your body composition. In fact, when you are stressed, your body will release more glucose from the cells. So your blood sugar is going to be higher, which is going to give you problems with insulin. And that's where you're going to see fat gain around the belly and whatnot, all things like that. So I know this is more of a sciencey type episode, but I think it's important that people understand metabolism and what it is. You want to make it less efficient. So that means exercise that's going to get your heart rate up, work a lot of muscle, eat a little more food, make sure it's good food so it's got to work harder to digest it right, but eat less frequently, if that makes sense. If you cut your calories way down, your body's going to get very efficient at using that amount of calories. When you go back to eating your normal amount of calories, let's say your basal metabolic rate, let's say it's 2,000 calories a day, you can be very efficient at running off less than that. The extra calories are going to get stored as fat. See, it's basic physiology here. Trying to simplify it for you. Anyhow, if you like that episode, please share it with a friend, and please leave a review on iTunes if you haven't already done so. That'll help me out greatly, and I'll be back next week with episode number 81. Peace.
You've been listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you enjoyed the show, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in iTunes.